Hello everybody and welcome back to the Empire Let's Play series. Today we are going to finish up mapping our entire world. And you know what? Thank you so much for being patient through all this, because I know watching me run across terrain endlessly isn't necessarily the most exciting thing, but it's something we really need to do, and I really appreciate you all tuning in and checking it out. And actually, I feel like that for the whole series. You know, this series, I'm actually really proud of the work that I've done. I've done some things that I've never done before, as far as like horses and villages and stuff like that. But I understand that it's not the content that you necessarily signed up for. You know, you're not seeing as many big builds, not seeing as much redstone, and we'll get to that eventually. We've just got a few more episodes where we will finish up some of our projects, do some things like investigate these maps, rescue the allay down here at the Villager outpost, finish the final villages, and then we'll be done. And I've got big plans for the next series. It's going to be really cool, really different, and a lot of really neat stuff. But like I said, today we're going to do some mapping. We have 18 maps left to unveil, and I did a little bit of trading with the villagers. I have 18 maps. Let's see, I don't need the emeralds. I do need the cartography table. Okay. So, one thing I do know is from right down here, I could see a village. So there is another desert village down here for sure. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else we've got down here. Likely a lot of mangrove swamp. This seemed to be a really big biome. But yeah, let's start off and see what we've got here. Then we'll take a look at the entire map. And then to finish up today, we'll get started on a bigger project. The map is finished. This is the entire world. So, as I suspected, a very large mangrove swamp biome. Really, really big and really cool. Most of the mangrove swamp biomes I've seen before were primarily just water and trees. Here, there were these big areas where it was mud, and you could kind of run through them rather than swim. I'd never really seen that before, and it was really cool. There's also a couple of areas where it was bamboo forest. That was kind of weird and kind of interesting. Out here, pretty much just desert and mesa as far as we could see. As I had mentioned, somewhere up here there is a little desert village, and that's going to be the next project that we work on. And you might have noticed that right down here, just off the map, there was another village. But it's not on the map, so we're not going to do it. So what have we got left to do? Well, as I had mentioned, there's a desert village. There is the riverside village over here. And then there's that village down here that we used to get a kickstart on our swamp village. Again, I'm not sure if we should just tear this village down since we moved these villagers up here, or if we should revitalize it. So we have 2 or 3 villages to build. And then we need to build some roads. We need to build the road from Marsalis up to the riverside village, and then from the riverside village all the way up to Hilltop. And then we have a road to build from Hilltop out to Eastwood. I think that one's going to go pretty quick. We've done a lot of the pre-planning infrastructure for that one, so I'm not really worried about that one. If you joined me on the live stream, you saw that we basically finished the road from the mesa out to our original road here. We built 2 little bridges that were really cool, and then we're going to take this road up into the mesa so we can reach Northtown. And obviously, we're now going to have to take it south down to this new village down here. So a couple villages, a lot of road building, and then just a couple of little odds and ends. You know, I mentioned that we could come down here and rescue the Allay from the pillager outpost or explore this windswept terrain. We still need to get into this woodland mansion. And I've got a few other ideas for things we'll do before we wrap up this series. Today, I want to run down to this new village that we found in the desert, and we're going to bring some items with us. We're going to bring some saplings, a bunch of iron, a little bit of dirt, some kelp, and some soul sand. And we're going to need a lot of that to get that village built. Let's go ahead and grab our horse, run down to the desert, and get started on the next village. So I'd shown you here where we started the road out to the Mesa Village. Comes up, and then under this little overpass here, and in the distance you can see the bridge kind of come into view. Just a little sandstone bridge, real rough. Looks like it's very, very weathered. And then we cut across this dune here towards this much larger bridge. And this one is much, much more weathered. Really cool looking. Once we get here, the road comes up and connects with our Mesa Village. Still quite a lot of terraforming to do. I didn't have enough sand to kind of finish up all of this. We have a lot of sand down in Marsalis since we did that lagoon project. So I think that's going to work out if we run down there and grab a bunch of that. And then we're going to take the road up the hill towards Northtown. But yeah, I'm real happy with how this bridge turned out. I think it looks really cool. Okay, the sun is up. Let's head south and see if we can find that desert village. There it is, off in the distance there. It's not very flat out here. That's going to be the biggest challenge with the road, is just figuring out what level we want it to be at and kind of making our way across. Nothing too special going on out here. Just a lot of desert, a few buildings, and that's about it. So I'm going to do 2 things to wrap up today. One of them is I'm going to tear down these existing buildings. And the second thing I'm going to do is dig a mine. Not only do I need a lot of stone to get the road down here, but we're also going to use a lot of stone when we rebuild this village. So let's do a little time lapse. That's what's left of the village there. Just 3 little buildings. I do have some villagers trapped in here to keep them safe. And then I've noticed a bunch of them just started kind of wandering off. I am growing some materials over here. And then right down in this little trench here, I just dug a real simple mine. So we dropped down, got a little space here. And then I put that soul sand and use the kelp to make an elevator back up. And here is where we are going to dig up a bunch of stone. Like I said, we're going to need a lot of stone for the road that goes down here, but we're also going to need a lot of stone for the build, because we're going to build a jail. I figured, who in their right mind would live this far out in the desert? And so it's got to be a jail. Sounds a little grim, but I think it'll be really fun. Anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. If you want to be like these folks and help support the channel, scan the code on the screen or click join down below. And thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.